Money mistakes that I have made that were probably a little bit silly but happened before I was good with money. I'm sharing this because I want you to know that it's okay if you make mistakes, and you can make a lot of mistakes and still end up being pretty good with money. So I hope this makes you feel good or better. I don't know. So probably my biggest mistake of all time was giving my ex-boyfriend my entire life savings to invest it in his business, even though he was like a total psycho. I put in $5,000, which was my entire life savings at the time. And then after, he was like, oh, hey, you made some money. And then he was like, do you want to reinvest it or do you want me to pay you out? And I was like, reinvest it, baby. And oh, by the way, I sold my car. So you can also use this money that I sold my car with to invest. I kept doing that. And eventually I had about $50,000 invested with him. Yeah, I lost all of it. So on the bright side, I do kind of think it's a bit of a flex to be like, I'm not even mad about it anymore, and I'm definitely doing better financially than he is. So it all worked out. Plus, now I can tell you guys about it so you feel better about your own mistakes. My next biggest mistake is probably one that plagued me throughout my entire 20s, and it was really giving bad boyfriends husband privileges. For example, I once paid for an entire all expenses paid vacation to Mexico for a guy who wouldn't even call me his girlfriend after dating for 6 months. The whole thing cost me probably about $2,000, and he broke up with me about a week afterwards. So it's one example of like a lot of things that I did in my 20s to try and like earn love or something. And I think it came from the place of like, I always made more money than my boyfriend. It was often like I made a lot more money than my ex-boyfriends. So I just thought like that meant I had to pay for things. But yeah, I don't think that's what that means. Trying to show my value by paying for stuff or giving people lavish gifts was just like my way of trying to prove my value, even though the older that I get, the more I realize like I am the value. Yeah. But hey, I got out and I didn't marry any of them, so that's good. And then the third biggest mistake I would say is focusing on being debt-free. I ended up paying about $40,000 of my low interest rate student loan debt off in 2 years, and I've done the calculations. If I had not done that and just paid my minimums and invested that money instead, I would have another $1 million by the time I retire. Yeah, I saved about $18,000 in interest by doing that. I would definitely prefer having an extra $1 million than saving $18,000, but you know, those are the three biggest mistakes I would say that I've made, but I've made other ones. So I hope this puts into perspective any types of mistakes that you're dealing with. You're human and nobody ever taught you about money. So try not to beat yourself up because like no one told you how to do this stuff and you're learning now. Okay. Good job.